So the secret is out. Let's see what they'll pick and ban, and you guys can take it away.
Remember that you can check out each of the individual POVs of these players under the esports tab in-game. So if you see any beautifully constructed dives and you want to learn exactly how the pros do it to get better yourself and potentially pop off an MRC, come join us over here in Marvel Rivals Ignite. You can learn from the best.
And these are the best players to learn from in Virtus Pro. So really just comes down to what FYR strays can throw as a curveball at them. That's what a lot of teams have been kind of talking about, like making sure that they can figure out some sort of strategy that works. And then maybe once a team demonstrates that, they'll have some sort of weakness that they can use against them. But it just seems like they are ironclad and have no cracks in the armor.
Flash rays are looking much better this week, but question is how far does looking better go when it comes to going up against our reigning world champions? One-sided gambit, at least, for FYR strays. This, or rather, for Virtus Pro, pardon me. But on the other side, FYR strays, they got a lot done with the Mantis. Like, triple strategist, I think, is a good composition for FYR strays. Might be a touch harder to make work with Damon instead of the Sestroid, as Lemon brought up Sestroid. On the bench for FYR strays, very good at coming in to play either the Adam Warlock or the Ultron, especially for that double damage boost, which made Sloppo an absolute beast on their previous Horde of Jalia.
I think locking in the Invis here is also to potentially enable Blackstone, as you mentioned, because of the Doctor Strange team up that we saw, how effective they were with that last time. And of course, because they didn't lock into Loki, Virtus Pro are not going to allow them to have it at all.
All right, there goes for Loki as well. This also means that Loki, you can't steal the one-sided Gambit ult. You can't take the Raging Royal Flash, which we have seen happen. Protect on the Rogue is going to mean that she has access to the Gambit team up and is going to be quite the force in the front line. But if she's used, she's not quite as mobile as, say, Captain America or a Venom. This could indicate potentially a slower tempo from Virtus Pro or more of a grouped-up Death Ball-y playstyle.
I think they're happy to play whatever is thrown their way, and this is one of the first teams who have not given them the Elsa for some reason. So many teams have just been focusing on the back line of Virtus Pro, which makes sense. It's Sci-Fi, it's Dredro. You don't want to give them some of their best heroes, and they are both playing some of their best heroes. Dredro with the Gambit, and Sci-Fi here with the Invisible Woman. Just really demonstrates, if you ever watch his streams, how good he is on every strategist. So it's really difficult to focus exactly who you want to take to task. But Virtus Pro, they're going for a little bit of a different composition here. We actually saw this last time, Sparker on the Punisher.
I mean, when you've got the raw tracking to make it work, Punisher has been getting chip buffs for a while, just continually increasing that damage. And you also have great anti-strategist tools by getting up close with a shotgun and, you know, just maybe making a couple of stumps where heads used to be.
Also interesting that we have Phi back on the Ultron for the extra damage. They're not going with a Mantis, but no, actually we might get a portal play from them instead. Those are always my favorite to watch from this team.
3, 2, 1.
All right, will Blackstone go for an early portal here? Yes, they're setting up for an early engage.
How do we see the counter portal play from both teams? Are they both portaling each other? They're realizing the other team is portaling? Where are they putting it?
They're just going to decide, you know what, we won't take this one. Virtus Pro, though, they are patient. Oh, what a cut-off. Goodbye, closer. Well, coffee's for closers, and he's going to have to go and have a coffee in the spawn for a while. Maybe a cigarette as well, as Black So is just going to be coming up, trying to build up that dark energy. Damon's surrounded. Someone peek me. I need to TP out. And indeed, the Spectral Surge finally comes on through after Damon is rescued from this backline peril that they were previously having to occupy. Sloppo, or Sloppo rather, moving back towards this position. It seems like FYR strays have been herded into this back line. Blackzo was temporarily laying down on the ground by Nevix, having access to that shield now, can cut off a bunch of the healing. Fire's actually playing the Doctor Strange for themselves, and Damon's too far out. Nevix just bursts them down with the punches, and we saw an early usage of a skill issue as well to really keep FYR strays strategist pinned in for a moment. Sparker in the back line has just been pumping out damage. Hasn't appeared in the frag feed thus far. Finally amends that one, but is already 85% to ultimate.
Maybe emulating some Pirate King Momo that we saw rank 1 Punisher with only the shotgun at one point in time. So pulling that out here and building up to that final judgment. So we'll see if it comes to bear in this next team fight. That with the boost from the Raging Royal Flush is going to be a deadly combo.
Yeah, Drujo walking back here to make sure he's got the widest POV possible to get everyone caught in that Raging Royal Flush. But now Virtus.pro were just forcing Fire Strays to use resources to buy this space away from the triple vanguards, knowing that it's not the easiest task in the world when faced with this much meat that's in the way. Nevix breaks the first of those, slap around the back onto Dredro. Instead, it's going to be Sparker who has to absorb all of that aggro. A touch late on the invisible boundary, but no one else is going to be revealing themselves to Slopo just now. A little bit of a maneuver out there from Fincy, makes them a temporary target. In comes the big stun, but guess what? It's instantly cleansed. Dredro was ready on the sticks, and while Damon's getting stuck in here with the Fox one to take down 5, the remainder of Virtus.pro is still dangerous. The limited capacity, the limited duration of the ultimate could be everything. Spark's going to be the last one to come in here. Up comes the invisible boundary. It's going to be neutering the overall aim that Sparker has access to, not knowing where their enemies are. And this is actually a great fight play here from Fire Strays. They've done this with a couple of resources.
Oh, that was a great stall, though, that we saw from Nevix, but they did get stunned out a little bit using the Heartbreaker.
Indeed so. Now in towards the back. Binary on the signature hold right now, cutting through multiple players and they're uptight and personal. That's a lot of damage off the back of the Gamma collapse, and even more so is going to be done as Fi invests the Eye of Agamotto. I like to be swapping off that Doctor Strange now, knowing that the portal is not going to be available. Maybe they'll stick to it just for the team up.
Early percentage finally coming in from Fire Strays and didn't get a full 99% from Virtus.pro. I love the anti-dive that we're seeing from them with Binary, keeping them in the fight. And the flanks from Slopo have not been underestimated by Virtus.pro, and unfortunately they have felt danger so many times that they try to go in. So it's been a great look for them, really looking for the Galactic Legend to enable them in this next team fight.
Fire once again moving. Triple challenges this time. Going to be matching the White Fox. And Slopo, the off angle, has run out of damage boost. Needs to grab that once again from the Mantis to get optimal usage. Oh, Saipe isolated. Gives the push, but there's plenty of pocket for them there. You could hear the skill issue happening in the backside. Seems like it's onto Znos, and every single missed shot will be punished directly. Fincy chased on down by Slopo. Picks their target, knowing that, hey, if everyone else is inside the invisible boundary, my best option is just to follow around this Deadpool who doesn't have any cover to work with. Out comes the Raging Royal Flush. Dredro has made sure that everyone's buffed up. Fire getting up close and personal, and the tails, they are doing the damage. Znos has found that out the hard way. Slopo even more so. I think that Fire may have just got a random bounce off the back of one of those marbles to pick up that one. And more Sparkle was overextended, and Blackzo's there to punish. Virtus.pro are partitioning apart the battleground. Blackzo can't get anything off the back of the Eye of Agamotto. No stuns, no help, no kills to be found. The frags aren't there, and Damon falls down to Saipe as well. That's going to be a flip in favor of Virtus.pro.
The brawl style we are seeing from Fi is unmatched. Going in with Nevix, targeting the Vanguards, they cannot even escape for a moment to breathe, and it's really shut down any of the maneuverability of Fire Strays because they can't create space for their team. They can't back up the strategists because they're getting pushed in every time, and I love this counter play from Virtus.pro, swap into the White Fox.
Ball from Black Zone, ready to go. Everyone's going to be exiting here with a Gamma Shield as well to give them the enhanced safety. A missed exile there from Binary with the World Breaker Halt. It's going to be ready to go. It could be temporarily stunned by Nevix using that quick stun on the air. And Sparker, there's going to be so much to deal with. Oh no, Binary can't put the ult in time. It just disappeared. Nah, the damage boost on Sparker was too much. And Spark is just pumping out so much here. Binary is going to be kicking himself for that one. The disengage, I think, was somewhat fumbled due to a White Fox getting a quick knockup to mess with the jumps of the Hulk. An attempt to try and hunt down the Invisible Woman. There's nothing to be done here. The ults are being drained away, and Nevix is going to eat them all up with the Heartbreaker as Virtus.pro strike back and win the first round.
So close, but not close enough on Celestial Hand for Fire Strays. Maybe a bit more open of a map for Celestial Vault will benefit Fire Strays a bit more here. It's a tough spot to find themselves in. I feel like if Binary was able to get that Monster Hulk form off, it could have been enough for them to stall the back line, drag them away from the points, and position well enough for that last team fight. But fortunately for Fire Strays, it did not go off in time, so they will have to save their resources for this next one, and Virtus.pro are happy with the way that one went.
You know, credit where it's due. That's one of the closest domination rounds we've seen from Virtus.pro. Fire Strays played that one remarkably well. I think that their triple strategist with the White Fox definitely did inspire Virtus Pro temporarily. We see FYR having moved over to copy that one, and now has access to the Kumiho Unleashed as well.
2, 1.
I'm really interested to see how FYR is going to use this Kumiho Unleash as well. If they're going to be using it more just to have focus against them while the rest of their team decimates the backline of FYR Strays, or if they're using it just to keep hold of the objective against FYR Strays as well. There's a couple different options for it, and we've seen it kind of evolving throughout the introduction of this hero into pro play.
Vinci rocking the Virtus Pro jersey. Go get your own with the esports team bundle now in the store for only 1,400 coins. Freedro stands ready with the Raging Royal Plus comes to all 6 members of Virtus Pro, and so it's going to be go time. There's not going to be too much to try and out for this one. Maybe Black can try and shut them down with an Iron Agamotto. It's going to be Snos instantly going in with the extra healing from the Soul Resurgence, but FYR's going to be able to easily answer it. How below 5 HP is going. If there's one way to try and control the Kumiho Unleashed, it's definitely Binary with the World Breaker Hulk. The CC that thing can pump out is unbelievable. A Spirit Sanctuary gives an extra shield, and well, Sparker just becomes immune to CC anyway. Out come the miniguns. The final judgment will be rendered, and Spark has found you wanting. Binary down to little banner form, and Drigo's easily able to pick that one up.
Sparker just in a shooting gallery as well. Doesn't have to worry about too much getting into a good position. It took some time. Probably the most we have seen Virtus Pro struggle to win a first team fight, but they are in a solid position. The only problem is they don't have any ultimates in their favor. So depending on how Damon eventually gets theirs online, but Slopo does use this Galactic Legend, we could see the tides turn.
All right, Blackso already pulled on down. This is going to mess with the tempo of FYR Strays. They're going to have to try and catch up to Blackso. The Virtus Pro aren't overly keen to try and collapse on this one. Instead, looking to see how FYR Strays are going to path, knowing that Binary is going to quickly be able to catch up with the remainder of the Vanguard core. Those are getting closer and closer. The second they reveal themselves, they might find themselves in danger. Slopo needs a bunch of heal here. You can see the Spirit Sanctuary in midair that was given over by Damon. And with Virtus Pro forced into this back alley, this could be an early flip. Oh, Fincy tried to make a move for a contest there. Didn't quite impact in time. And so it's going to be FYR Strays now playing from this defensive posture. Binary almost has the Hulk form back. Just about gets it in time as FYR makes an engagement happen. The White Claws, they do be a rending. And it's a White Fox dip in their favor. Blackso is struck back on the other side. The primary DPS. The Virtus Pro taken away as the skill issue lands onto the backline of FYR Strays, no doubt. Blackso spinning around, trying to create the fear of God and the fear of spinning in the heart of Virtus Pro. Inside of this invisible boundary, Virtus Pro are slowed, and Fincy can't quite get away. A misspit towards the back, and here's the Raging Royal Flush. They want Dredro so bad. It's going to be the White Fox going after him alongside Slopo. But guess what? Dredro's just too evasive, man. Snoss is down already. Slopo finally gets them, and a pair of stuns from Blackso. What do they need to do? They need to escape from Sparker, or better yet, just out-frag him.
That was one of the longest fights we have seen in some time. You need a bit of a breather here, like Dave, because they are not giving you a moment's notice. My gosh. Blacksu with that amazing stun that we saw from the Eye of Agamotto really changed the game and allowed FYR Strays to finally put an end to your torture. Oh,
okay.
Man.
Happy slice consumed. Let's get stuck back in. Binary around the outside. World Breaker Hulk ready to go. He's going super deep. That is going to be an absolutely massive clap. Look at them all together there. Big Sleep comes through. Sparker can't stand a chance. And Cypher's down as well. Trigo's next up on this one. And this is why we glaze the Binary Hulk, baby.
It's just such a good counter to the playstyle of Virtus Pro, and no teams actually have been able to pull it off against them. So this is a great look for FYR Strays. They've learned from what we saw from Team Captain, but are executing it to a much better degree. They actually have very good support, especially from Damon, as we talked about being that domination specialist. And this might be the first time we see Virtus Pro lose a point on Dom.
Great aggressive play. Slopo hasn't even had to use their Galactic Legend yet. The backcap's coming through. And, well, no one's going to be there to try and deal with Fincy. Virtus Pro already have Sparker moving over onto the Doctor Strange. The pentagram of Ferrara will soon be open. Nevix needs to be dealt with before we can get more done. Fincy's evasion is certainly going to be something to think about here as Virtus Pro move to open the portal. Fincy won't be there for the fight, but might well respawn just in time to come on back. Slopo knows it's time to invest with their ultimate now, but guess what? The cover's good from Virtus Pro. They have plenty of staying power thanks to FYR with the Soul Resurgence. Inside of this invisible boundary, though, they are going to be slow as they try and emerge. Blackso starts with the Eye of Agamotto for stuns in onto Thigh. Oh, look at the healing! Look at his health bar move! Virtus Pro Pro are so good when it comes to a focus, and Cypher has an invisible boundary. It's the time to use it, though. Was temporarily stunned, maybe exiled by Binary because no damage was given on over. Dreedro's down as well. Spin to win, you might say, the Sloppo, but it seems like all that Cypher has to do is contempt here for your plans. Binary will stand alone. One green giant against the world, and this Titan is slain and will also be staggered.
Oh, massive stagger on it to Binary. They will be able to escape in some direction. We'll see if they get one final hit off on them as the rest of Fire Strays is trying to rally behind them. But I think this actually works better because it takes some time, especially with the ult charge nerf, for them to build up that Hulk form again. So works out pretty well for Virtus Pro to position themselves to kind of reverse sweep the second point, which I didn't expect going into this one, like they'd have to say.
It's going to be necessary. Binary with the damage boost again, and the Ward Breaker Hulk last time. It did so much damage to Virtus Pro. It's going to be Eye of Agamotto ready to go as well. The chase onto Dreedro is going to be supreme. What opening can Sparker find? Fives over here on the Wolverine, overwhelmed amidst all of this. Nevix trying to strike it back, but Dreedro's already fallen on down. Up close and personal. Nevix is burning on through them, surrounded by two. There's nothing that Znost can do but fall as slowly as possible. And more Spark has been taken out on the other side. Binary's well on top of Cypher. Out comes the Guardian Shield. A quick pull off, a quick peel. In comes even more. Damon unleashes the Kumiho. And look how low Cypher is. Closer finds them on the respawn. And it's Fire Strays back in control of the point. The Celestial Vault in their hands. Virtus Pro playing around the outside. Nevix being as patient as possible. But Fincy can't say the same. Dashes in to try and find some value. And Fincy needs to extricate themselves from this scenario. Up come the bubbles. And down fall the bears. Fire Strays are out of the kennel.
The first time the entire preseason we have seen Virtus Pro drop a point on domination. It goes to Fire Strays. The vault has been broken open by Binary on the Hulk, and this might be the master formula that they need to take down Virtus Pro, at least on an individual map. I don't know necessarily if it'll continue from here on out, but Virtus Pro have to adapt quick and find an answer, and Sparker going to the hit scan might be the change that they needed.
Get ready.
The Wolfie viewers have heard of Bug Month, but what about Hulk Month, bro? Hulk Month! I'm so ready to see some more of this. And Binary's got yet another Ward Breaker Hulk ready to go. Virtus Pro will not have any ults to answer it unless Saipe is absolutely out of his mind with charging on the poke phase.
This bodes well for a lot of teams who are looking at this matchup and seeing Virtus Pro and wondering how we can counter them on at least one individual game mode. And having Binary do so well on this Hulk has just been another level, but also the damage boost that we were talking about, how good that is with Hulk. Now using the portal play, seeing if they can get maybe a kidnap, one pick off of it. This will be massive for Fire Strays if they can get it off.
Early mugging. They want Sparker, but Sparker's been able to dodge away for a moment. However, look at this. Everything at once. The kitchen sink thrown at Virtus Pro. I think that might actually be a few too many ultimates, but hey, in the end, when you just pop 3 ults off the rip against a team that can't really defend themselves, you're going to win the fight.
There we go. Already in the favor of Fire Strays. Virtus Pro having to play from behind once again, and this positioning that we saw from them before, Sparker has just been pulling out a couple of different options and hasn't quite found one that has worked for them up to this point, and they've got to start sweating at least a little bit, especially because Fire Strays seem to have figured them out.
Sloppo disengaging, giving away space alongside the Vanguards in tandem. Fincy's temporarily exiled, and Sloppo starting to develop on this angle. In comes the skill issue, moving towards that backline. Byron wants to get in there and just bubble everybody up, but instead it's just going to be punishing onto Nevix. Good objective discipline here, making sure to play on that corner where we do see the intersection with the invisible boundary. But Virtus Pro didn't really invest that much other than Fincy's ultimate. Now they're making their play. Saipo with the invisible boundary. Fincy has to go inside. You can see that Binary couldn't receive any healing. None of his strategists knew where he was, and the Mantis would have no chance to do that anyway. Blackstone has to do their best to hold up the shield on the corner, sustain this angle as they move forward with Znost. The Soul Resurgence is everything, but so too is the Raging Royal Flush. The damage coming through from Sparker right now is absolutely insurmountable. A cataclysmic amount of damage is forced onto Fire Strays, and their last remnants will be disintegrated under the gaze of the Bears.
A lot of resources had to be used, though, during that team fight to get some percentage from Virtus Pro, and that's got to be in the back of the minds of Fire Strays, especially as Binary slowly building up that Monster Hulk form again, and Damon already having the Kumiho Unleashed available to them. but they have to wait some time for Sloppo to be able to combo it for that Galactic Legend. So Virtus Pro looked really solid with the usage of the Final Judgment and the Raging Royal Flush, and I'm really curious how they're going to position Vi specifically with the Soul Resurgence just to keep them with holding on to this point.
Binary isolated, anti, but able to try and save themselves there. Oh, Sloppo's got a good angle for this one. Galactic Legend good to go, just needs a little bit of a damage boost. Vi needs to answer this one, and there it is for Soul Resurgence and the Guardian Shield as well. Anyone who overextends out of range of the Mantis is going to be in danger. Druido's going to be the primary target here, but Sloppo still has access to this angle. For Triple Strategist, they might need a little bit of healing here. Vi starts to play for themselves. My goodness, he's an aimer, and you got to deal now with Binary. He's gone monster mode. The world is ready to be broken, and it's broken at the hands of the big green giant, the Hulk himself. Virtus Pro are forced off the point. Fire Strays are back in control. There may be some stragglers, some survivors here to play, but Saipe is forcing them to take him out so that he cannot be staggered.
This is going to make it so much more interesting to do in terms of potential tiebreakers going forward if Fire Strays are able to pull off an individual map win, especially with their last series that they're looking forward to on Sunday. If they could do it, there's a chance that other teams could potentially take it, even Rad against Virtus Pro, so they're definitely looking at this one closely.
It's doable, very doable. The invisible boundary like to be brought up here to just try and distract Sparker from any potential targets. In comes for Gambit ult as well. There's going to be so much damage, but he doesn't want to go inside of the invisible boundary. Jujo's getting stuck in, trying to make it all work for themselves, but now we're up against Damon, and the White Fox claws just tear through those cards. Vi can't escape. The tracking is good. The invisible boundary is going to be a last chance saloon here for Virtus Pro, but Fire Strays are still in control at this point. Blackso has the eye like a moto. Is there going to be anything to stop him? Finty getting rid of Sloppo is going to make sure that everything else is going to be a touch more difficult. Blackso finds nothing. It must have been a push coming through from Saipe, because that was nowhere near Virtus Pro. But still, Fire Strays are in control of the objective. Binary doing his best to keep this one contained. Double bubbles onto the Vanguard. Just maybe some extra charge is going to come on through. Binary's 2% away from getting access to the Worldbreaker Hulk. Damon falls down at 99%. The Kumiho is not to be unleashed this day. Does Binary feel it towards the back? Can you feel it now, Mr. Binary? Or can you feel it now, Mr. Hulk? Sloppo coming up close and personal. Saipe's seen this before, and it is going to be Virtus Pro back in control.
That was a must pick against Damon. We see the selfie come in from Fincy just to build up more ego points, I guess you could say at this point, because they don't need any more XP. They're fully upgraded, but even then, they need some sort of confidence boost, and I feel like getting that elimination onto Damon was the straw that might have broken the camel's back against Fire Strays. If they can hold it down here, using that Soul Resurgence from Vi could be the difference maker in this next team fight, but look what Damon and Binary have available to them.
Oh, big combos could be coming through. Sloppo would love to get that bonus from Dame over Kumiho's blessing. In already down to half HP. This guy needs some pocket. He needs it now. But this engagement from Nevix is going to be difficult. Can you see anyone escape from this? It's great play from the Vanguards here to keep the point contested even in the face of danger. And here's the Kumiho unleashed, already down low. Gets a bubble coming through from Binary. The world must break under his pressure. But you can't do it in front of the Punisher. His health is going to go to zero so fast. The damage boost is everything inside of the invisible boundary. What can you do but wait? Fincy's already down. A Soul Resurgence is ready to go for Snos. It is clutchable right now as Shriko drives everyone forward with the Raging Royal Flush. The damage overwhelming, and it's going to be so difficult to stay here. Saipe under pressure. Sloppo's round the back. He tries to get him a two, but he's just short of the invisible boundary. Sparker's taken down by Sloppo. And now you can try and flip this one around. Fire Strays can't afford to leave a point for about a second. In comes the big E, and it's a lot of damage to Blackso, but he's still so far from his ultimate. Fire Strays are running low on members. They can't TP back as Blackto's already fallen on over, and Finks has brought themselves back as well. Sparker's there. The point is flipped. Virtus Pro was so close, but as they rouse from their hibernation, they roar so loudly, and Ursa Major shines in the sky. One last portal, one last breath. Fire Strays find themselves extinguished.
They had the portal. No one jumped through it, though. I believe there was a force physics that went into it as well, just to keep them off of the objective. So no chance for a final touch from Fire Strays at the end there. The closest anyone has gotten to taking a map versus Virtus Pro was Fire Strays, but the universal constants in life is Def, Taxis, and Virtus Pro winning domination.
Oh, okay. Let's dig into some stats. Ryan's going to have a field day with these.
Yeah.
Blackso walking away at 34 and 7, a huge amount of 33k damage on the Strange with 76k blocks. Like Sparker was just pumping damage into that shield, so much utility. that was coming out of the Punisher really great at making sure that Black Soul was never feeling comfortable in their positions, and maybe that's why we saw the pivot over to the Punisher.
I really also love the flanks that we saw from Sloppo. Time and time again, they were able to catch Virtus.pro basically with their pants down. They were not expecting it. They got KO time and time again, especially on the back line. Like Saipe and Dredro, they didn't seem as flexible as they usually are. 4 KOs against them than we're used to seeing, but a big thing to note too, Sparker going down more often than ever. This is the most KOs we've seen against them the entire preseason. They were 10-1 into their KD. Shout out Ryan for that stat before this moment, and a little bit of a struggle bus for them, but they were eventually able to turn it around. But Nevix MVP, not too surprised, especially with the flexibility we saw from them depending on which hero they wanted to get into. Rogue, I think, was a massive change of pace for them, having the Heartbreaker, staggering the ultimates from Fire Strays, and unfortunately for Fire Strays, they had to play against the world champions, because any other team, they would have won at this map.
Yeah, I feel like if you told me that Fire Strays played VP this close last week, I'd say that you're a liar when you're trying to trick me. But like, not crazy this time. This is a very real team, and honestly, big credit to Sparker realizing binary is a problem on this World Breaker Hulk. Like, the burst is so good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna become CC immune, and I'm just gonna do a more billion damage per second to instantly de-Hulk that Hulk. And I think saving the final judgment to counter that ultimate out was the right call for Virtus.pro, even if it meant that they were playing from behind in terms of initiative sometimes.
I think a big focus in terms of priority we see here from Virtus.pro in the next map might be banning out the Mantis. That really enabled everything for this team, especially that extra damage on the Hulk. But we do have to take a quick break before map number 2. We know these teams are going to talk amongst themselves and figure out if they can get even closer on the next one.
Clear the way! Feel the pull! Disappear!
Yeah, I'm with you, Leg Day. If you would have told me Virtus.pro Fire Strays was the match of the day, I would have said you're a rage baiter. was.
Actual Imperator tweets.
Put me in a rubber room. And Vaudable, put me in a room with Hulk, but not Binary Soul. That guy was insane today.
Hulk stocks are through the roof, especially having the double bubble that we've seen too, having the exiles that you're able to use even more so. Like, they have never been in a better state, except when we saw Gamma back so many seasons, like a year ago at this point. And I think this has been the answer teams have been looking for against more of the dive composition. We even talked about this going into this map, is like, are we going to see the Hulk in some capacity? You were talking about this during the break with us, Jen, that we're used to seeing the Venom specifically, but I really loved that play from the side of Fire Strays, but also got to shout out everyone on the team. Sloppo on the flanks, just doing everything necessary for their squad. Zanas on the Mantis did so good. We saw Closar do what they could even in the last moments for the portal. It just did not work, unfortunately, at the end. And now Heart of Heaven. We haven't seen this map too much, so this will be an interesting one.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Like, someone has been able to make the gods bleed, like, Day. Like, and if you ban enough duelists, Sparker's gonna come up with something. And it was the Punisher, but on Heart of Heaven, yeah, sure, maybe that too.
Unfortunately, God has access to gunpowder, and gunpowder is a pretty good invention. The Punisher, I think, was particularly strong against Fire Strays, given what they like to run in their Vanguard line, right? They love the Doctor Strange and they love the Hulk. And Doctor Strange, with that 100 HP missing off the shield, can be constantly peppered down. You can kind of one-clip the shield with Punisher. That means that Black So has a lot more trouble being in these aggressive positions to get those E's that he wants. And it also means you can put down this consistent pressure on the Hulk and punish him for his engages by swapping over to the shotgun.
And just to kind of go through Fire Strays' previous picks, they actually picked Heart of Heaven against Rad and kept it as close as they could. And something about this Blackso on the Doctor Strange made a huge difference. It's just Vaudable. They got to actually get through the portals.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Get through the portals, make sure you get through the chopper, as we wanted to see them do at that moment, but unfortunately did not work out.
Yeah, and they got to get through this next map. Fire Strays kept it close, but can they punch up for good, or Virtus Pro will end it for good? Let's find out in this pick, man.
I'm not going to say I'm rooting for Fire, because that would be unprofessional and biased, but I am rooting for a fantastic game, VOD, and I'm hoping that Fire Stray's mental is staying high after that close defeat to Virtus Pro. Already we can see, you know what? Maybe we should take Elsa from a best duelist player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to let Sparker have Elsa anymore on this map, or any potential
Any
map in the future.
actually.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as I was saying. It's like, yeah, they're just not going to have a good time with that. I did like the prioritization that we saw, making it so that they didn't have the Daredevil available to them, nor the Star-Lord, so it forced Sparker on into the Punisher, which wasn't as comfortable. Now we're going to be also seeing, again, the one-sided Gambit. Probably see a Loki ban come in here at some point as well, so they can't get the copy. Pretty much the same style of bans and protects from last go around, but the big change up here is the focus on the Daredevil instead of the Mantis. And if you're Virtus Pro, you might have to ban out that Mantis because of how good it was for Fire Strays.
Yeah, Nost was playing well on the Mantis. I would love to see Fire Strays do a protector here, either on the Mantis or on the Vanguard pool, because we talked previously about how much of a skill issue is a great way of trying to shut down a Gambit and quickly get rid of them during their ultimate, because if they fall during Raging Royal Flush, the effects go away, and that could be deadly to players who overextend with the speed and the jump boost, trying to get some value out of that ult.
Fire Strays are happy to not play Gambit. They're like, yeah, you can use your ban for that. We're going to play whatever else we want. Have some damage boosted Daredevil on your backline, and if you try to play any Jeff in any capacity, we're going to be focusing you down. I mean, they learned from what Tanuki was saying. Like, Daredevil is the counter to Jeff, so you want to make sure that's there. And yeah, you have to go for the Ultron ban. You don't want to have Daredevil with an Ultron drone and the damage boost from Mantis to deal with.
Yeah, so Stroid being in does mean that Ultron ban is demanded. This does mean that Fire Strays are going to have access to that Vanguard Deadpool, which is a pretty good answer. And there we go, the Rogue on the table as well. We saw Nervix get quite a bit done with the Rogue. Rogue also is a great enabler for triple Vanguard compositions because of the AoE healing you give to the remainder of your team when you're hitting those team-up bashes.
A team up is just so good, and it's why you typically don't see Rogue by themselves. You usually see them paired with Gambit. I mean, they're a married couple for a reason, so we gotta have them be used in meta play as well. But FYR potentially flexing on over to the Ultron. Like to see it there. I'm really curious on what the adaptation is going to be from Sparker. Are they going to stick on the hit scan, or are they going to change it up a little bit for this map specifically? I think at the first point, it works quite well, especially based on the compositions we saw from FYR Strays. If you could snipe the Star-Lord out of the sky, it might shut down their Galactic Legends a little bit better.
FYR Strays having the Invis banned away from them as well is also, I think, a little bit of a pocket pick here for Virtus Pro. Just denying that team up from Blackso, who's been able to get some great value off the Doctor Strange so far, which I think Virtus Pro were a little bit shell-shocked by in some of those
They weren't prepared for it.
Like, the southern pull does, it's a bit spooky, you know? A bit scary.
It's like your own mini version of Force Physics, and you're having that with a Vanguard that has a 500 HP shield in front of you and can also pull you away from the heals of your team. It's a bad time waiting to happen, and that's what they experienced, so they do not want to go through that traumatizing moment again.
Okay, Vanguard's up on top of the high ground here. It does mean that it's going to be very hard to catch them early with something like a fastball special. Obviously, from our spectator POV, we know that that's not on the cards for Virtus Pro, but one of the good things about teams at this point, at this level, is that you do your due diligence. You don't give anything away for free.
I like how we see Blackso just building a castle for his team and some like landing pads for them from the rooftops if they do want to come down and have some high ground still against them. It's an interesting maneuverability that we see from this Groot on the points, and great positioning as well for his Ironwood wall.
So we're doing a great job of playing inside the waterfall here, knowing they have the silhouettes of their teammates to heal, so they don't necessarily need to be as visible as everyone else to aim in a very effective way. Blackso doing their best to try and peel for themselves. The castle is once more being erected. The Citadel rising up, even if they are over in North America. You can see Dredger dropping into range here of Binary, but instead focusing in on the peel. Getting rid of those regeneration domains does mean that Finzi can now go in a little bit deeper, but against the Soul Bomb, things become a touch more complicated. Over health up to 727 means that Finzi has plenty of staying power, and this consistent shield pressure coming through from the Unicorn does mean that the strategists are having a lot more trouble delivering their heals to those strategists, and that's why Blackso has had to give over a tick so far. Cypher once more hiding out behind this waterfall. Essentially, it's going to be unnoticed here, apart from all of the damage that's going to be pouring out of it. Nevix is going to have access to a wall to try and isolate Blackso, not having to use it just yet as they move through onto the backline, and everyone's just trying to flee away. Binary has returned on the Doctor Strange. No access to a team up this time. It needs to get onto a point no matter what, because they're almost at the point where it has been capped. Znoff drags everyone forward, but you can see that that overhealth is not going to be around for long. Spark are going to do his best to avoid this incoming damage. Great focus fire from FYR Strays. The Sloppo is going to be ready to try and answer this.
Oh, we do have the Rage and Royal Flush though coming out, so it's time for them to go in again like this.
Oh, can they get on top of the Gambit is the question. No, it seems that Dredger may well have been able to free themselves, possibly saved some cards for that one, just cleanses themselves away. And while Sparker can no longer find their counterpart, they can find those defending the point, and it's a quick take for Virtus Pro.
Love the usage of the Rage of Ultron as well, just to section them away from the objective and force them to go back to their spawn room after everyone collapsed in on them from Virtus Pro. And it's a great strategy. I'm loving the positioning that we're seeing, especially from Sparker, just focusing on that front line. We saw Binary and Blacks go down immediately, and there was nothing to keep the rest of the team sustained.
Okay, looks like fighting in the underpass is in the interest of the FYR Strays here. The remainder of FYR Strays want to stay a little bit further back, though, so they can't be easily flanked through that high ground, especially against an Ultron like FYR. A quick drop down onto the floor. Sloppo's ready to answer. Nevix is knocking at the door. A skill issue as well put on top of Closer, and he can't really do much against the full-throated dive of Virtus Pro. These guys are brawling out of their minds.
The Heartbreaker too made it so that the Adam Warlock unfortunately did not have their ultimate in time to bring people back. So that was a brilliant play from Nevix, and continuing to show how the Rogue with this team up with the Gambit is just such a crucial save in this composition.
Yeah, that Rogue is just really having its time in the limelight when alongside the Gambit for now. Snoss has access to the Soul Resurgence. little bit of a oh crap button if things start to go real wrong. And Saipe can answer that one, of course, with the slowdown from the invisible boundary. Sparker, you got to consider what is... Oh my goodness, where did Nevix go? Sparker may have overcommitted to this one, thinking that Nevix was going to survive a little bit longer, but great focus fire from Fire Strays. And this should be Virtus Pro just resetting to not give over any more ult charge.
I'm loving the swap from Sloppo, the adaptability and the aim from them, but Sparker answers right back.
Okay, well, sometimes it's a lost fight, sometimes it's just a Sparker moment, and that was indeed a Sparker moment. Goodbye to a closer clone, potentially. Snox drags everyone forward. Fire Stray still have to think about how they want to play around this resurrection. They can't really make too much use of the speeders without getting out of range of destroyed safe space that needs to be held in the back for when things start to take a turn for the worse, and they're about to, as the Raging Royal Flash is ready to go. In goes the Rage of Ultron as well, towards the back, a double from Sloppo, combined with Black Soul. Unbelievable focus there onto both Saipe and Sparker. You couldn't ask for two more valuable picks.
Love the end song prison combo. They cannot escape the danger zone that they were sent into, and even with the invisible boundary, it wasn't enough.
Fincy's still in the back. That could be big going on to someone like Sestroid if they manage to find that resurrection location.
Trying to just sneak around and, as you mentioned, see if they can sniff it out, wait for this next team fight, because I know if they can shut down Destroy, there's no chance for them to win this next team fight, and that might be the win condition here for Fincy, but did opt for using it a little bit earlier on and getting Closar out of the equation.
Yeah, that's a skill issue. This needs to be the resurrection. Indeed, it's going to be Sestroid on the other side. Has survived it for now. A quick click for a little bit of HP, and Fincy needs to get on out of there quickly. However, the remainder of the Vanguard needs to make their way onto a point as they're so close to a second cap here. From the top, Nevix just makes it keep going with the Heartbreaker, and the defensive Hearts most certainly are feeling a couple of palpitations right now. As Sloppo around the back can't find anything. A Cocoon Revival from Sestroid likely means they're going to swap on over here. Otherwise, that's a huge waste of a utility.
I'm pretty sure the Heartbreaker went off right as the God of Mischief was activated, so they couldn't even use their ultimate in time because of it. Oh, that's devastating.
That's so sad. Alexa, play the song.
Well, we'll see what they can do, though, in this next team fight. Again, trying to hold them as long as possible, waste as much time, and make it that much easier for them when they are on their own attacking leg of this map. But unfortunately, they have not been hitting the gym. It's not leg day for them.
For me, it's always leg day. Can you try and get an isolation here onto the Gambit Squishy Drijo around the outside? In goes a big blast onto Saipe, declared to be nothing. And it would seem that the Phoenix Force agrees. Oh no, Fi! He used the last stand directly into a Loki Green. What a great response from Closer.
The answer backs, the clapbacks between both of these teams are on another level. Fire Strays trying to go toe-to-toe with the best in the world and showing how much they have leveled up from last week into this one. But they still need an answer, and Sparker's got an angle.
The sparks. There's a reason they call him Sparker. Trying to intercept towards the back. The Tokyo Drift doesn't quite work out this time. Good interception onto that, but still not much value off of Binary's Meteor M. They need to move back and maybe try and isolate Nevix here. He's getting incredibly low, but the healing's going to be delivered, and Sestroid is still precious points away from that resurrection. The last chance saloon. It has to be Closer moving forward now. Has temporarily been stunned, but has access to the copied usage of the Soul Resurgence. Look at this Virtus Pro. They simply leave. It's great disengagement.
I've just baited out the ult from the Loki so that it kind of went to waste after that team fight. So backing off at the right moment, knowing they have so much room to work with and eventually engaging again.
This invisible boundary is kind of crazy as well. From Saipe, finds Sloppo around the back. Binary going to be overwhelmed as a Wolverine tries to close the distance. Adamantine claws are not quite so metallic today. Maybe super cooled materials as Virtus Pro are feeling pretty cool as a cucumber with 34 seconds remaining.
Back to the status quo is Virtus Pro as they are ready to go for this one. Unfortunately for Fire Strays, this might be the end of the road for them as they look ahead towards their last series tomorrow for a potential makeup time.
Well, Fire Strays, having picked this map, likely have some pretty concrete plans for their offense. This is not the easiest point to attack, and we often see attacks halted on second in particular. Second that wraparound that the turtle takes is a very difficult area to continue contesting, especially when you're respawning on the low ground, looking out towards this window where Dredro currently is, and it's very difficult to make unobserved movements.
I'm just really curious on like what the game plan is going to be from Fire Strays, right? We see Blacks going to the Doctor Strange, but they don't have the team up that. I don't know if it's necessarily a crutch, but they definitely relied on it a lot. Zanos potentially changing on, okay, we're going into the Luna Fox combo, as I like to call it, between these two heroes. And I think the stuns, the charms that we see from them might be a difference maker against Virtus Pro, just to stagger them enough where we kind of saw a similar story when we had the Hulk just disrupting them with the Exiles.
Yeah, those exile disruptions did just, like, there are certain assumptions you make as to, like, the support you're going to be receiving in different situations, right? Like, having those micro stuns, having to worry about that when you're trying to use an ultimate that's very vulnerable to being interrupted as well. Certainly something that needs to be kept in mind here for Virtus Pro.
I think they have a lot in their minds now. The big thing is a full hold. They want to bring back respect to the name of the world champions, and Virtus Pro will be the ones on the high ground holding it down.
Also, Stroid pivoting over onto another duelist now. We know him to be a fantastic hit scan player. The Phoenix should be right in his wheelhouse. Oh poor
no!
So he's having a real bad time, and that's going to be a skill issue put over onto Closer. I believe just misses a shot and then is instantly destroyed by Deadpool's debuff. And well, that's a fight.
Yeah, back in spawn. Got the double for Dredro. Having a good time with it too, leading the charge for their team where normally they're on the back line instead. So this is the wheelhouse for Virtus Pro on full display, and you got to go toe-to-toe with the Kings if you want to have a chance at a shot on the crown. And right now, unfortunately, they are just begging at their feet for a chance.
It's just so difficult to get up on that high ground as well. You can see that FYR is just like constantly showing himself up there, not just to gather information, but to make everyone very afraid of what might happen if they do go up onto it. Snoss is just decimated. Nevix, I didn't know that he had this kind of rogue in him. This game is kind of crazy for him. Fincy falls down. Blackso finally finds the angle, and FYR's now lost access to their passive. So there is a small moment here where Fire Strays will have an advantage once Sestroid respawns, especially if Dredro falls down low, but Cypher's not going to allow that one to happen. It's easy healing through the waterfall.
I'm loving the positioning from Virtus Pro with this waterfall too. Get rid of that line of sight, make it so that you can keep your team up as much as possible, and we saw that when they were on the attacking end as well. A lot of teams can learn from that.
Spark a real low. Can try and rescue themselves if they get to low HP, using that ultimate in. Oh, yeah, you might be declaring that a legend is to be formed today if a Sparker could just sit here, bomb down onto Sestroid. The Gambit ult clears all. The Raging Royal Flush, never to be underestimated. And it's a celebratory selfie. Extra XP for Fincy. Bro's drowning in it.
Back to your regularly scheduled Virtus Pro programming, and I'm sure the Boger Bash watch party is having a good time with it too, especially because they're rooting for their fan favorite team. Got a little bit of a heart attack on Domination, but now we see Binary here, seeing what Nevix is up to in the corner.
Don't move. His vision is based on movement. Nevix needs to get back inside this invisible boundary. It's an unconventional location, but if you go in there, FYR is going to be waiting for you. Sestroid tries to fly away, but the slow on the invisible boundary just means that it's easy for FYR to keep up here. The last stand almost ready to go. Look at how tightly Fire Strays are in position here. Blackso takes to the skies. The Meteor M not to be outdone by FYR. Grabs the Feral Leap. There's even more to be done. A Sparker finds the angle. The high ground contest needs to be brought here by Sloppo, but there's not really going to be enough healing. Round the back, give me those Vanguards. I'll do something to them. Blackso isolated. No friends, not enough healing. And Sparker's there to finish them off as Fincy on the off angle is absolutely dominating.
Was respectable to try and take Virtus Pro to a map that they have not played in the preseason yet, but they kind of wrote the playbook for it in previous editions, so they are no strangers to the strategies and keep the high ground locked down. Unfortunate for Fire Strays, and they're already saying well played in the chat for us.
Well, alongside the first lap was crazy. Good job. Shame that you ran out of gas. I guess Nevix is meaning, going for that early PM, hiding in the waterfall, ready to grab someone on the way through. There goes the team up. There goes the lunar snow. Pop stardom can't save you from the fury of a champion of the world. Saipe under stress. Destroyed came in from the other side. It's Great Duelist focus, but now only Znost remains, and Nevix has the team up with the Gambit. And we'll cut to black with that punch for all the children at home.
Unfortunately, the beatdown could not be televised at the end there. That was Virtus Pro showing them how it's done on Convergence and why they are the kings of all of Marvel Rivals. Wearing the crown as well as they could. It was a heavy burden to bear in domination, but they were able to pick themselves back up, especially when Sparker is maybe on a stronger hero from their pool.
Yeah, Sparker definitely able to be involved in so many of those frags. 13 final blows, 26k damage. I mean, we saw Fire Strays having to play this very tight composition as well because they didn't have the Hulk and they were playing the Groot. Just meant there were so many sparks being built up, especially off of the Loki as well. You can farm the sparks off the Loki doppelgangers, which was definitely a thing that Sparker was kind of doing in advance to get those chain reactions into instant picks.
I love that the competitive spirit still came through at the end there in the text chat between these two teams saying, well played. They gave it their all, got the closest, and actually got a point that no other team has been able to do against Virtus Pro in domination. But this is where the big boys come to play in Convergence for Virtus Pro and why they are one of, or the best currently still in the world at this game. And only one demise for most of the team. Saipe getting focused a little bit more, but didn't really matter as much because look at that Vanguard lineup. I think Virtus Pro and everyone can kind of recognize how effective Lasso and Binary were in map 1 to getting that 1 point and getting so close to winning in overtime. So more of a prioritization of taking them off of the playing field time and time again, focusing them down so they didn't have any front line to keep their back line protected was a game changer for Virtus Pro.